tonight on First at 9 this Wednesday, the 14th of May 2025. Wrong move. Foreign Minister summons Canadian High Commissioner to express the government's strong objection to the Tamil Genocide Memorial unveiled in Canada. Says such actions hinder Sri Lanka's efforts towards national unity. Mysterious catastrophe. No mechanical faults, road issues or driver error found, officials reveal as investigations into the tragic Kotmale bus accident continue. Political supremacy. NPP will take control of all local authorities it won, vows President Anura Dissanayake. Warns of action against those who defy the people's mandate. Opposition talks. Opposition parties in discussion to form joint councils in local government bodies where the government failed to secure an outright majority.
Cinec Campus Open Day. May masa 3 වෙනි දින උදෑසන 9 සිට Cinec Campus පරිශ්‍රයේදී.
This is Derana First at 9. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
Good evening and welcome to First at 9, brought to you by the nation's most trusted news source, Derana. I'm Tharindu Mahendra, joining you live with the latest in Sri Lanka and from around the world. In our top story this evening, President Anura Dissanayake says that the NPP government is fully committed to working in accordance with the mandate granted by the public and warned that if anyone attempts to defy the mandate, the government is prepared to respond constitutionally, legally and politically. He made these remarks while attending the 60th anniversary celebration of the JVP in Colombo today. Commenting on the recently concluded local government elections, the President affirmed that the National People's Power will move forward with establishing local councils in all institutions where the party has secured victory.
The Janata Vimukti Peramuna, or the People's Liberation Front, was founded on the 14th of May 1965 under the leadership of Rohana Vijayveera. The JVP, which led two armed uprisings in the 1970s and 80s, returned to the democratic political mainstream in 1994. Following a significant transformation in 2019, the JVP led the formation of a new alliance, the National People's Power. Under this new identity, the party began actively contesting elections and succeeded in forming a government in 2024, marking a historic shift in Sri Lankan politics. In this context, the 60th anniversary of the JVP was commemorated this afternoon at the Vihara Mahadevi Open Air Theatre in Colombo under the patronage of President Anura Dissanayake, the current leader of the party.
First of all, why are we remembering this history? We have formed the government. That is the present. Why do we need to revisit the past? I know there are whispers. Comrade, let's not talk about the past right now. Some believe we can leave the past behind and begin anew. I know that some have even joined us by consciously choosing to forget that past. But we believe you cannot begin a new chapter, let alone build a better future by forgetting that past. Our history is full of betrayal, often from those who once stood beside us. Even today, we continue to witness the same. If not for the JVP, individuals who wouldn't even qualify as doormats for other political parties have become so-called heroes. Today, they cry over the very same cause they once denied. Take the Batlanda report. We heard and saw how those who once opposed it are now attempting to whitewash its findings in interviews. Look at the recent local government elections. In the Madamulana division, which once produced some of this country's most prestigious leaders, we emerged victorious. In Borala, a crucial area within the Colombo Municipal Council, our female comrade defeated the opposition. I urge the fragmented opposition to unite because if they do, they won't even achieve the limited results they are currently clinging to. They contested separately but are now scrambling to form alliances just to take control of councils. Are they not ashamed? If they want to contest as a united alliance, let's have another election tomorrow and see who wins. They believe they can turn this around. They aim to secure the presidency without even securing victory in a single local authority. They think they are like the JVP, but they are nothing more than old, failed political propaganda machines. We will establish 152 local government councils first. The remaining 115 councils will be established on the due date. We are fully committed to working according to the people's mandate. If anyone tries to go against that mandate, we are ready to respond constitutionally, legally and politically. If laws are insufficient, we have a 2/3 majority in parliament to take necessary steps.
චන්දුරුසුමේ කාගෙත් මනාපේ සිංහ TV සඳහා සුපිරි ඩීල්.
Opposition parties have decided to arrive at a final decision regarding the establishment of power in local government institutions in which opposition parties collectively possess more councillors than the ruling party through a committee that comprises secretaries of opposition parties. The decision was made at a meeting held under the patronage of former President Ranil Wickremesinghe at his office this evening.
A meeting to discuss the establishment of power in local government institutions in which opposition parties collectively possesses more councillors than the ruling party, the National People's Power, including the Colombo Municipal Council, was held with the participation of representatives from opposition parties this evening at the office of former President Ranil Wickremesinghe in Flower Road, Colombo. Representatives of a number of opposition parties, including the head of operations of the Samagi Jana Balawegaya, Nalin Bandara, the national organizer of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna, Namal Rajapaksha, the leader of the People's Alliance, Anura Priyadarshana Yapa, the leader of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, Nimal Siripala De Silva, and its General Secretary, Duminda Disanayaka, the leader of the Pivituru Helawurumaya, Uday Gammanpila, the leader of the Ceylon Workers' Congress, Jeevan Thondaman, and the leader of the United National Party, Wajara Abeyewardena, and its General Secretary, Thalathathu Korala, participated in the meeting. Leader of the Sarvajana Balaya Alliance, Parliamentarian Dilip Jayawira, also joined the discussion via telephone.
The people signalled at the local government elections that the opposition parties should work together to establish power in local government institutions. That is what we discussed today. We should listen to the people's opinion before competing as separate groups. We will all work together regarding the institutions where the government has not obtained a majority. We are working towards the aim of establishing power in these local government institutions according to mandate of the people. Based on the agreement of the majority and in accordance with the certain policies, we will unconditionally support the establishment of power. We believe that a force should be built that is capable of listening to the voice of the people and provides answers to their concerns. We will take our party's future decisions accordingly.
At the first round, we discussed the requirements and the methods to fulfill them. We are hoping to hold discussions with the secretaries of all parties to discuss further measures.
සිනෙක් කැම්පස් ඕපන් ඩේ මැයි මස 3 වැනි දින උදෑසන 9 සිට සිනෙක් කැම්පස් පරිශ්‍රයේදී.
Drawing attention to the recent increase in violent crimes, opposition leader Sajith Premadasa claimed that government has failed to fulfill its promise of instituting systemic change in Sri Lanka, including the swift dismantling of the criminal underworld. Addressing an event in Mathura today, Premadasa went on to say that it is not the role of leadership to justify incompetence, but to take effective measures to safeguard the public. The Samagi Jana Balawegaya has established an initiative named Udagamin Udagamata, aimed at examining the issues faced by residents of Udagammana villages established during the tenure of late former President Ranasinghe Premadasa. Accordingly, SJB leader of the opposition Sajith Premadasa today visited the Nakandapura Udagammana belonging to the Kamburupiti Divisional Secretariat Division of the Mathura district.
People are currently living in fear as underworld gangs are attempting to take over society. The country's rule of law has diminished. People are being killed at their own residences, in the streets and even at their places of work. Disturbingly, some were even murdered within court premises right before judges. Criminals have already established control over society. Addressing the recent surge in violent crimes during the past few months, a statement was made suggesting that while the recent murders are serious, they are not unprecedented compared to those which occurred during the past. Government promised to institute a systematic change in the country. They said they will dismantle the underworld within 2 months and put an end to drug trafficking. However, now that there is a murder every day, they dismiss it, claiming that it isn't serious compared to the past. It is not the role of leadership to justify inaction or incompetence. Rather, it is their duty to take bold, effective measures to safeguard the people and restore the rule of law.
As the investigation into the tragic bus accident in Kotmale unfolds, authorities have so far found no evidence of mechanical failure, road defects or driver negligence leading to the accident. Meanwhile, the death toll climbed to 23 today following the passing of another individual who had been receiving treatment for injuries sustained in the accident at the Gampola Teaching Hospital. On the 11th of May, a SLTB bus travelling from Kataragama to Kurunagala via Nuwara veered off the road and toppled down a precipice on the Nuwara-Gampola main road, claiming the lives of at least 22 people. Around 40 individuals who sustained injuries in the accident are currently receiving treatment at various hospitals. Against this backdrop, another person receiving treatment at the intensive care unit of the Gampola Teaching Hospital after sustaining critical injuries in the tragic bus accident passed away today, increasing the death toll to 23. The deceased was identified as a 21-year-old resident of Tissamaharama. Meanwhile, of the 5 individuals receiving treatment at the Nuwara Hospital, 3 are reported to be in critical condition. The 6-month-old infant who is being treated at the pediatric unit of the Peradeniya Hospital is in critical condition due to the damage caused to his kidneys and the fracture in his chest. A 5-member committee headed by senior DIG Ajit Rohana is currently investigating the incident. The bus involved in the accident was also inspected by the government analyst at the Kotmale police station today. Against this backdrop, a press briefing was held today with the participation of several parties, including Minister of Transport, Highways, Ports and Civil Aviation Bimal Ratnayaka, to disclose more information regarding the accident.
We have decided to grant 1 million rupees as compensation to the families of each victims. The funds for the families for all 23 victims have been dispersed to the respective divisional secretariats for distribution. In addition, members of the Sri Lanka cricket team and several other parties have pledged their continuous support for those injured in the tragic bus accident, including the children. The bus in question began its journey from Kataragama at 10 p.m. on the 10th of this month, with Valimada as its first scheduled stop. After travelling continuously for 4 hours, the passengers took a 30-minute tea break at the Valimada bus stop. The journey resumed at 2:25 a.m. the following day, continuing until the bus reached the vicinity of Garandiyalla. At the time of the accident, the bus was just 2 minutes away from its next stop, Tavalantanna. The crash occurred approximately 1 kilometer from that stop. The driver of this bus was a 40-year-old who does not consume alcohol and was healthy. According to our reports, the bus in question had been declared fit for operation. The road where the accident occurred is in generally good condition with no visible potholes or corrugations. Although the region is mountainous, the specific location of the accident features a shoulder width of 2.9 meters. Notably, there have been no recorded accidents in this area over the past 15 years, suggesting that it is not considered a high-risk zone for transportation.
Former Minister Mahindananda Aluthgamage filed a petition before the Colombo Magistrates Court today seeking anticipatory bail against his possible arrest by the Bribery Commission. The application has been filed with regard to his possible arrest over his alleged connection to the importation of a shipment of substandard organic fertilizer during the tenure of the previous government. When the petition was taken for consideration before Colombo Chief Magistrate Tanuja Lakmali, counsellors for the petitioner, former Minister Mahindananda Aluthgamage, asserted that under the Bail Act, the Magistrates Court has the authority to consider the request made through the petition. In the petition, former Minister Aluthgamage asserts that the procurement of fertilizers and pesticides was entrusted to the State Ministry of Agriculture through a special Gazette notification issued by the President. The former minister goes on to say that the State Ministry of Agriculture is a separate ministry governed by a separate secretary and that he, as the then Cabinet Minister of Agriculture, had no involvement in its activities. He further asserts that his only involvement with regard to the matter in question was to present the relevant cabinet paper. Aluthgamage says that after a diplomatic crisis arose due to the Chinese embassy's intervention in the issue regarding the ship carrying the substandard fertilizer, the subsequent payments were made in accordance with an agreement reached before the Colombo Commercial High Court on the advice of the Attorney General. The Colombo Chief Magistrate ordered that the petition be recalled on the 19th of this month and a notice be issued to the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption to present facts regarding the matter on the same day. The officer in charge of the Special Investigation Division of the Bribery Commission has been named as the respondent to the petition. Meanwhile, the Court of Appeal has fixed for hearing a case filed seeking to disqualify Jaffna District Independent Parliamentarian Ramanathan Archana to be a Member of Parliament. The court has ordered the writ petition to be taken up to confirm the facts on the 26th of June. The writ petition was filed by social activist Oshala Herath and was taken up before a two-member bench comprising Justices Mayadune Kure and Mahen Gopallava today. In the wake of the recent unveiling of a Tamil genocide memorial in Brampton, Ontario, Minister of Foreign Affairs Vijitha Herath met the Canadian High Commissioner today to express the Sri Lankan government's strong objection to Canada's apparent approval of the monument and what it described as unfounded genocide allegations. A statement by the Foreign Ministry stated that such actions mislead the public and hinder Sri Lanka's genuine efforts towards reconciliation, national unity and lasting peace among all communities. Several videos currently circulating online appear to show the unveiling of a memorial constructed in Brampton, Ontario by members of the Sri Lankan Tamil diaspora. According to posts shared by the event organisers, the memorial was built in response to the Sri Lankan government's demolition of a similar monument at the University of Jaffna in 2021. The structure prominently features a map of Tamil Eelam, a symbol associated with the liberation tigers of Tamil Eelam. In response, Foreign Minister Vijitha Herath met the Canadian High Commissioner today to reiterate the Sri Lankan government's strong objections to the approval of such a monument and what it described as unfounded genocide allegations. The Sri Lankan government argues that the monument complicates and undermines its ongoing effort towards reconciliation and national unity. In a statement issued today, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs said that Sri Lanka has repeatedly expressed strong objections to the construction of the so-called Tamil genocide monument in Brampton and has consistently urged the federal government of Canada to intervene and prevent this initiative by the Brampton City Council. This statement added that Sri Lanka views this development as offensive to both the broader Sri Lankan and Canadian communities. The statement added that Sri Lanka views this development as offensive to both the broader Sri Lankan and Canadian communities. The ministry further emphasized that such actions not only mislead the public but also hinder Sri Lanka's genuine efforts towards reconciliation, national unity and lasting peace among all communities. As World Hypertension Day on the 17th of May approaches, health officials highlight that high blood pressure, also known as hypertension, is one of the leading causes of untimely deaths in Sri Lanka and leads to other diseases such as kidney disease and heart failure. During a press briefing today, the Non-Communicable Diseases Unit of the Ministry of Health stated that effective management, such as regular monitoring and seeking medical advice, can help minimize long-term organ damage caused by the condition.
World Hypertension Day falls on the 17th of May. Within the Sri Lankan community, 1 in 3 adults suffers from high blood pressure. An individual might engage in their day-to-day activities while suffering from the condition but without exhibiting any symptoms. However, when there is hypertension, it will slowly affect the crucial organs of the body, such as the heart, the brain and the kidneys. Damage to these organs may lead to untimely death. Around 50% of these patients do not know that they suffer from hypertension. Only 1 in 3 adults who have received a proper diagnosis have their blood pressure under control. Therefore, it is imperative to speak about hypertension. Most deaths that occur due to this condition are caused by heart attacks.
Not only in Sri Lanka, but 1 in 3 adults around the world suffers from hypertension. Only around 20 to 30% have the condition under control. Around 42% of the people in the world have received a diagnosis and take medication for the condition. There's a huge benefit if one can keep the condition under control. However, the problem with the condition is that most of the time, patients suffering from it don't exhibit symptoms. That's why it's called the silent killer. There are certain lifestyle choices that you can make to manage this condition. The first step is to reduce sodium intake. Second is engaging in exercises. And the third is to control your weight and maintain your BMI. One must stop smoking and reduce alcohol consumption. If the condition cannot be controlled through lifestyle alone, medication may be necessary.
Welcome back. You're once again joining First at 9 on Ada Derana 24. Now, in celebration of the Vesak festival, Colombo was beautifully decorated with colourful lanterns and pandals last night as well, reflecting the spirit of peace, compassion and unity at the heart of the festival. Large crowds flocked to Colombo from all parts of the country, eager to witness the city's grand Vesak displays and take part in these spiritual observances. Last night, the city of Colombo was illuminated with colourful pandals and lanterns in celebrations of the Vesak festival, commemorating the birth, enlightenment and passing away of Lord Buddha. Massive crowds were seen flocking to Colombo and its suburbs to witness firsthand the streets adorned with Vesak decorations and beautiful Vesak zones. Lotus Tower Colombo was also lit up in celebration of the festival. Meanwhile, the 2025 Buddha Rashmi Vesak Zone, jointly organised by the historic Hunupitiya Gangarama Vihara in Colombo, the Presidential Secretariat and the Prime Minister's Office, commenced for the second day yesterday. Crowds were also seen continuously gathering at the Bauddha Loka Vesak Zone, organised by the Old Ceylon Buddhist Congress. In the meantime, the Aruna Loka Vesak Zone, jointly organised by the Bellanvilla Rajamaha Vihara and the Aruna newspaper, also commenced for the second day yesterday with the participation of huge crowds of faithful. In celebration of Vesak Poya Day, the Parliament complex and its surrounding area, including the scenic Diyavanna Oya, were illuminated with Vesak decorations. Devotees were seen gathering at the State Vesak Festival held in Nuwara, where colourful Vesak zones, lanterns and pandals were displayed. Numerous dansal were also organised to offer refreshments to the public. In business news, global gold prices fell 3% today as risk sentiment crept in following the announcement of a temporary deal between the United States and China to reduce tariffs. The Assistant Director of the Assaying and Hallmarking Division of the National Gem and Jewellery Authority in Bandara stated that gold prices in Sri Lanka have decreased by approximately 6,000 rupees. In Sri Lanka, the price of a 22-carat gold sovereign dropped to 240,500 rupees and the price of a 24-carat sovereign dropped to 260,000 rupees today as world gold prices declined. The Ceylon Chamber of Commerce is set to welcome a 115-member Chinese business delegation led by China's Minister of Commerce for a high-level Sri Lanka-China Trade and Investment Forum scheduled to be held on the 30th of May. The Chamber announced that the forum will focus on expanding trade and investment opportunities between the two countries, particularly in sectors such as construction, clean energy, tea and the automotive industry. The event is jointly organised by the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce, the Sri Lanka-China Business Council of the Ceylon Chamber, Sri Lanka's Department of Commerce and the China Chamber of Commerce for import and export of machinery and electronic products. The delegation, comprising representatives from 77 Chinese companies, will be led by Wang Wentao, Minister of Commerce of the People's Republic of China. Delegates will represent 4 major Chinese chambers, including the China Chamber of Commerce for import and export of machinery and electronic products, the China Chamber of Commerce of import and export of foodstuffs, native produce and animal byproducts, the China International Chamber of Commerce for the private sector, and the China Chamber of Commerce for import and export of textiles. The delegation has expressed interest in importing Sri Lankan products such as black tea, spices, seafood and fruits, along with other food and agricultural products. In terms of exports to Sri Lanka, Chinese businesses are exploring opportunities to introduce various agricultural products, textiles and home textile products to the local market. The services sector will also be a key area of focus, with potential collaboration in water treatment, clean energy, environmental protection technologies, engineering and construction. Additionally, discussions on investment are expected to centre on the automotive industry value chain, tea plantation development and tea enterprise expansion. The Central Bank of Sri Lanka raised 173 billion rupees at the weekly Treasury Bill auction today, with the weighted average yields for all 3 maturities remaining unchanged. 111.1 billion rupees were raised via 12-month bills. The 3-month rate was flat at 7.65%, while the 6-month and 12-month yields remained unchanged at 7.98% and 8.3% respectively. Following the long holiday, the secondary market opened the week with renewed buying interest, marking a shift from the subdued sentiment of the previous week. Despite this pickup in activity, the yield curve remained unchanged, with trading volumes staying at moderate levels. Among the traded maturities, the March 2028 and May 2028 maturities traded between the rates of 9.8% to 9.7%, while both October 2028 and December 2028 traded at rates of 9.85% to 9.87%. Meanwhile, June 2029, September 2029 and December 2029 bond maturities traded between the rates of 10.25% to 10.15%. And in your stock update, the bourse reopened after the long holiday weekend, kicking off the week in a strong note with robust investor participation driving early momentum. The ASPI showed steady growth throughout the session, gaining 215 points to close at 16,131, marking its first time above the 16,000 mark since the 2nd of April 2025. HNB, CFIN, COMB, SAMP and SPEN were the key positive drivers of the index. The easing of China-US tariffs and an immediate India-Pakistan ceasefire boosted global sentiment, sparking a strong market rebound as both H&W and retail investors returned from the holidays with renewed optimism and active participation. Investor sentiment was elevated towards certain hotel sector and blue-chip counters, whilst the diversified financial sector registered the highest in terms of sector-wise returns. Turnover surged to 3.4 billion rupees, reflecting a 46.9% increase from the monthly average of 2.3 billion rupees. Capital goods sector led today's turnover with a 30% share, followed by the diversified financials and food, beverage and tobacco sectors, jointly accounting for 31%. Foreign investors remained net buyers with a net inflow of 25.5 million. And up next, we have Dilen Harishchandra from Capital Alliance with some thoughts on the current status of the economy in our next segment, Economic Outlook.
Sri Lanka's industrial sector recorded a solid recovery in March 2025, with the index of industrial production rising by 5.6% year-on-year to 103.9. In the domestic monetary sector, the weekly AWPR increased slightly by 5 basis points to 8.41%, while the AWCMR edged down to 7.96%. Reserve money expanded due to higher commercial bank deposits at the central bank, driving market liquidity to a surplus of 194.5 rupees billion, up from 163.3 rupees billion the week prior. Credit to the government rose by 95.5 rupees billion. Private sector credit recorded a strong growth of 173.2 rupees billion, reflecting a 4.0% year-on-year expansion.
And that's all for tonight from First at 9. Thank you for joining. Have a great night.